in.
Hi, Shibra.
Hi. So Bharat, is it your first time?
No, I've joined already. This is my second time.
Okay.
Hmm.
Hi, Shrikant.
Hi, Shilpa. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah. Uh, so basically, I just want to ask you that you know how the project will start. If if anything, let's say it's an healthcare domain. So how it will start? Uh, what I want to ask is that if we got any new project that uh, they are entering into a new line of business, let's say health insurance. Okay. So how they will assign that task and how we will start with that project requirements gathering.
Yeah, sure, Shrikant. I'll answer your question. Yeah, that's a very good question. So before I answer that particular thing, right? So first we have to understand what kind of projects can be there. Yeah. So one of the type of projects is a product development. So the company, your company, I'm starting from scratch itself. I'm not talking about a scenario where a person is joining in within an ongoing project. Yeah. Your question is how to start a project from scratch. So as a company, I made the company may decide that okay, we want to build up this product, and this is the vision of my product. This product will be used by so and so people, and this is what the product will do. So they'll have a very high level idea about the product. Yeah. So the company may decide to start with the product, and then they'll club together a team. They'll set up a team. So the team will comprise of a project manager, it will comprise of a functional lead, yeah, and it will comprise of a technical architect. So all senior people, all people with 14 15 years of experience minimum. uh, could be less, and there's no hard and fast rule on the experience, but the person's people will be experienced people. They won't ask a fresher to start a project. So then these people will start brainstorming, and they'll decide on what features they want to do in the project. And then they'll decide, okay, this is the first feature we will have to do, and this is the second feature. So they'll plan out the different releases, and they'll set up a 2-year plan, 3-year plan, or it could be 6-month plan. So the team will plan out along with the scope of work, and then they'll start the project. Yes, second kind of a project could be an implementation project, wherein a client has purchased a product and they want you to implement that product for them. So you have taken an example of a healthcare domain. So in this case, there is a healthcare provider, yeah, maybe some clinic is there, and they want to go online, and they want to have a system. So right now they are doing all their business in excels, in word files, in registers, manually they are doing. But now they want to purchase a product, so they'll identify a product. They'll first ask some people to analyze different products in the market, and then they choose one product, and then they say, okay, we want this product to be implemented for us. Now the product company itself may give some people to implement that project, or they ask some third party to implement a particular product. So product can be established product. Yeah. So if I take an example of insurance industry, so Guidewire, Duck Creek, Subscribe, so there are different products in the market, right? So they are very well established. So there are people who just do the work of implementing those products. So they'll again ask a particular organization to implement that product for them. And then what again, same thing will happen. A team will be formed with senior people, project managers, functional leads, technical architect level people, developers, and QC is not there at the moment. And they'll decide, okay, because the product is already there, right? So they just need to implement it. Then they'll prepare a list of out of the box features of the product, and they say, okay, this product does this product does this, and what do you want? Do you want this feature or not? Do you, is this feature applicable to you or not? And they'll take out a list of features they'll implement in the first release, and then they start engaging the client for that, and start discussing on what configurations they need, because everything is already there. So out of the box, many things are already there, and so they'll say, okay, what changes or what tweaks you want us to make, or what values you want us to set up, what master data you want us to set up. So configurations based, yeah. So what features should be working, what features should not be working. So they'll decide on the configurations, and from there the project will move on. Yeah. Before I go further, any questions so far?
No, please proceed.
Okay. Third kind of a project could be a support project. So the team, a client is already there. They either the implementation has recently been done, or the implementation has been done long back, but they want to change their support provider. So support means daily business as usual problems. So there are 20 users of the system, there are 100 users of the system, so no system will work perfectly, right? So there will be problems. So the way we let's say call a call center, right? So if my internet is down, I'll give a call to my broadband provider, yeah, Airtel, Vodafone, or some other system. I'll give them a call, and they note down my problem, and then they assign a technical person to solve those problems, right? So that's same thing will happen for any product. So even in healthcare domain, there is a I think Life Asia or some other products are there. Not very good with a healthcare example, but yeah. So there are different products are already there. People are using them day to day. They'll face some problems, and a team needs to solve those problems. So in that case, the team will take a handover. Yeah. So we don't need a big team in this case. So we don't need functional leads or a business leads, but we'll need a people who will be providing the support. They can be junior people in this case, and this team will take a handover from either from the implementation team or from the previous team. So within the handover, they'll provide all the important documents. They'll provide all the important information, how the product does, what the product does, what are the different features in the product. So product KT will be given. They'll ask for some documentation like data dictionary of the product, or some guides, user guides can be there, right? So they'll take a handover, and then they start engaging with the client. So they'll set up a LAN desk or a help desk or some ticketing system they'll set up, and it could be Jira, it could be TFS. So some ticketing system will be there. People will log a call, so they'll set up a help desk ID as well. So it's usually, let's say, helpdesk.abc.com. Yeah. So people will send their problems to the help desk ID. Help desk team will create a ticket. The ticket will go to the support team member, and support team member will start looking into it. And because they have taken the handover, they should be in a position to resolve the queries of the client, and they'll establish some processes around how to deal with, what are the service level agreements, how soon they need to respond, how to define the severity of the problem. Some of the problems could be a bigger problem. System itself is down, so that's a S1 severity 1 kind of a ticket. So it could be the contract will be you have to resolve severity 1 ticket within 4 hours or 6 hours, like that. Yeah. So how the severity will be given, how soon the tickets needs to be resolved. So all these processes will be established, and from there the project will kick off. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Fourth kind of a project that comes to mind is a data migration project. So a client is using a system, but it's an old system, very legacy system, very old mainframe based system, or very, very poor UI, or the system is having lots of problems, performances issue, and the system gets stuck very frequently. So client wants to move from one system to another system. So what they'll do is they'll again search for a new product which they want to migrate to, and once they have decided the product, they'll bring in a team, and they'll say, we want to move from this system A to system B. And then again, this team, they will assign a BA first of all. And what the BA will do is BA will understand the architecture of system A, BA will understand the architecture and data model of system B, and then write some rules. So okay, data from field A should go to data in field B in the other system. Yeah, data in field C needs to be added with a value of 1 and then go to the system, second system in the field X. So BA will decide the rules of, they'll provide the mapping, they'll suggest what transformation is required, how the data needs to be sent across, and then the team will pick up the data and move it to the database of the other system. And then other system might need an implementation, it might not need an implementation, both the cases could be there. So yeah, so that's a data migration project. So if I be it any project, these are the top projects that are coming to my mind right now. They can be different, any other type of projects can be there, the variations of these projects can be there, but generally the very first thing that happens is sales. So sales guy will reach to different clients, they reach out to different people, either through their contacts, or they check out the people who have visited their websites, contact them, or all these sales and marketing things can happen. So once the sales team has sold out something, and they have brought in a project, then a team is formed, mostly with experienced people, and this team will start deciding on the scope of the project. And the very first thing that is created is the statement of work. So what this statement of work document comprises of? It comprises of what all will be delivered and what all will not be delivered or will be phased out. And this is the price of this delivery, and any all the important bits. It's not a full blown project plan, but it's a contract that's done with the client. Okay, we will be doing this for you, and this is how much we will be charging from you. So BA sometimes provides inputs in this as statement of work. Sometimes what happens is the project scope definition, right? So how much the project will include is not very straightforward. So in that case, it's not, if it's not a small project, or if it's not an out of the box kind of an implementation, right? So if it's not as easy to just write up a document on the statement of work and send it to the client and ask for their feedback, then sometimes what also happens is a discovery is conducted. So what happens in discovery is a set of people are either they go to client side, or they have regular workshops with the client, 2 hours 3 hours per day minimum. Yeah, so it's a continuous, so every day it could be like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. People will have continuous sessions for a week or 2 weeks or for a month, depending on how big the project is going to be. And they try to understand their client requirements, they understand what the client is looking for, and they also understand what can be done and what can't be done. So for example, a client is looking for a feature which is not there in the product itself. Yeah, so they'll clearly call out that this is not something that we will be able to deliver in phase 1. The will ask the product to build this up, but in the meanwhile we'll set these things up, and by the end of it, product will give us the delivery and will then set it up for you, right? So they'll create a plan. So the output of the POC will be a plan of different releases, or what's phase 1, what's phase 2, what's phase 3, like that. So it could be from BA side, it could be a list of titles of the user stories, that these are the stories we are going to deliver, yeah, as part of this release. So those kind of things are so plan, statement of work, list of user stories, or backlog of user stories. So those are the discovery outputs. And once the discovery outputs are there, then the team is formed. Developers will be brought in, QC members will be brought in, infrastructure guys will be contacted. So then the team is formed, and the project manager is responsible for making ensuring that project kicks off smoothly. Yeah, there could be a kickoff meeting as well, and then the project will start. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, any questions?
How do we perform gap analysis in project life cycle?
As a BA?
Yeah.
Right. So one of the important aspects of a BA role is gap analysis. Yeah. So let's first understand what is gap analysis. So gap analysis is the difference between as is and to be. So what happens currently and what needs to happen going forward. Yeah. After the project delivery. So it's if you need to perform a gap analysis. Yeah. So first you need to understand what is my as is. So you need to understand what are my as is processes and as is system processes. Both you need to understand. And then you need to understand what is my to be going to be. And then you see what is the difference between as is and to be and what I need to do to arrive to be. If I just take an example, right? So my client is noting down, the records or transactions in an Excel file. So that is my as is. To be is a situation that I do not want Excel to be there. I want a system to be set up so that all the records are entered into that system. Yeah, now you have to perform the gap analysis. So what's the objective is you need to define what all needs to be done so that I can give a system to the user for noting down the information that they are currently noting down in an Excel file so far. Yeah, so that's the objective. So first of all, what you'll do is you'll understand what all information user is capturing in the Excel file, right? So what all they are noting down. For example, it's an HRMS system, and the client is noting down the employee ID, employee name, then how much salary they are paying to the employee, what is the employee date of birth. Yeah, so all these are data points that they are capturing in Excel right now. So then you need to understand, okay, I already have this HRMS system which I'm going to implement for the client, but does this system also provides me a function of noting down employee ID, employee name, employee salary, employee date of birth, or not? So for example, you realize, okay, date of birth is not something that is available in the system right now. So what you will do is you will say, I need a date of birth field to be present in the system. Yeah, so you'll write a story and get that field added in. So that's your analysis. That's the analysis you did. You compared as is to be, and you figured out what needs to be done. Yeah, that's your user story. Then second thing you'll do is you'll understand, what will happen once the user will enter this information, right? So it could not be just records, right? So what needs to be done, so what they do currently, what is the business process right now, because it's a manual process. Yeah, noting down it in Excel, what's the business process? So you will not get a very straightforward answer, but you need to question the business users. So, and let's say business users say that, okay, yeah, at every quarter I need to send a report to higher management, telling them how many how much salary we are giving to our employees, geography wise or branch wise. So how much salary we are giving in Delhi branch, how much salary we are giving in Mangalore branch, a total count I need to give out. Then you need to understand that the new system that you are implementing, can it create a dashboard for the higher management? Can it gives a geography wise salary total kind of a widget or kind of a graph and show it to the higher management? And then you will ask higher management, okay, you might not be looking at some information right now, but what's the information you will like to see? Yeah, what kind of information will be helpful to you? And they might say, right now I'm getting geography wise how much is my total salary I'm paying, but it will be good if I can also see employee experience wise split. So how many employees with less than 5 years of experience, how much salary they are getting? Employees between 5 to 10 years of experience, how much salary they are getting? If I can show a split like that, that will be helpful for me. Yeah, so that's another requirement that you have come up. So gap analysis will lead to the set of requirements that you need to be done for reaching the to be state. So to reach. You won't just go to this client and say, okay, this is the system we are going to give you, right? You need to ask questions, you need to understand what they are doing right now, and you need to tell them, okay, right now you are opening up your Excel file and noting down the information there. Going forward, you need to open the system, click on this button, this page will open up, and then you enter information in this page. Do not use Excel anymore, yeah? Or keep your Excel in and use this upload button and upload this data into the system like this. So could be anything, but the purpose of gap analysis is to arrive at the requirements and understanding the difference between as is and the to be states.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Imran.
Can you give me an example of any project like about insurance or anything? What they do, like any simple example of couple of projects.
Yeah. So I'm from insurance background, yeah. So I can give you a number of examples. Insurance companies, right? Insurers. So they usually use a policy administration system in which they log the insurance policies that they have issued. Yeah. So as I said, it could be a product development project wherein we are developing a product which is a policy administration system. So we are developing the system itself. It could be an implementation project wherein the system is there and we are implementing it for the client. So when we are implementing it for the client, we are understanding what kind of policies they write, what kind of business they write, right? So one insurance company will be writing home policies, yeah, home property policies. Other insurance company might be writing life insurance policies. So we won't be able to use the same system for both kind of products, yeah. So we can use the same system, but we will have to set up different products. So one option will allow me to write life policy because the data is very, very much different, right, product wise. So I can set up different products for my client. So one page will open up for the life. It will comprise of what's the age of the insured, what's whether the insured smokes or not, or all the life insurance related information. And second product could be my property product, wherein how old the building is, what material the building is constructed from, so that kind of information. So it is also possible that a client is already writing business in one line, but now they want to add one more line to their portfolio, yeah. So for example, they are writing a homeowners insurance or property insurance right now, but going forward they also want to insure the vehicles. So setting up the product for a client in an existing system could be one example of implementation for the client, yeah. Third is support role, data migration project. So same can apply for any of the clients. Does that answer your question, or are you looking for any specific?
Oh, I understood. Like for example, if you like you yourself said, like there is for example there is a new coverage that is getting added to the existing coverages. So how that will be implemented? Can you just brief about it for a couple of minutes?
I'm sorry, I lost you there.
So there are like, for example, if a client wants us to introduce a new coverage, new kind of a coverage, like to the existing coverages, if you want to add a new coverage or something like that, like how we go ahead with that? Like, I mean, can you explain that in a couple of minutes?
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, let me clear that you're not talking about cover, you're talking about coverage. So there is a difference between both the terms in insurance domain perspective. Yeah, let me just clarify the difference from my perspective. So when you talk about cover or a section, or it could be a product as well. Yeah. So that means a higher level of line of business. So for example, property, marine, liability. Yeah. So that's my cover. When you talk about coverage, that's a lower level than my higher level, yeah. So if I talk about property, it could be my property damage, my business interruption. Those are my coverages. If I talk about liability, then employer's liability or some other liability, so those product liability, so those kind of those will be my coverages. So if either way, if you are talking about a cover or a coverage setup, then what you need to understand from the client is, first thing is understand what information they want to capture for that particular LOB, yeah, for that particular line. So if I take an example of cyber insurance, yeah, so what all covers they provide, what all coverages they provide. So for example, they might be providing laptop as a coverage, yeah, coverage for laptops. They might be providing coverage for servers. So laptops will have different information, servers will have different information. So first you'll need to understand what coverages they will be providing and what all information they will be covering, or they will be capturing for that particular coverage. Yeah. How this coverage will be different from other coverages? Are there any specific provisions out there? Yeah, so you'll capture that information, then you'll go a step further, and then you'll understand, are there what will be the documents that the client will be generating out of the system. So the document for a laptop will be different from the document of server, a location where the servers are installed. So you'll understand from each area, each module perspective, right? So if documents module is not there in your system, you won't ask that question. But if documents module is there in your system and your system is generating the documents for the clients, then you'll ask that question and understand what they need to be set up. So system is already there, you are setting up a new coverage, so you need to understand, first of all, you need to understand the flow of the system, how the system works, what's the architecture of the system. So most of the time it will be like, you'll have a cover, and then you'll cover the coverages. Then you will also cover the perils. Yeah, you understand the peril well. Peril is something that causes the loss, right? So flood is a peril, earthquake is a peril. So let's say a particular peril is not there for other systems, other covers. So then a new peril needs to be introduced, so you'll understand those perils and set them up. You'll understand the workflows. So does my cyber insurers or cyber underwriting team does or follow any other process which is not there in the system yet? Yeah, so you understand from the processes perspective. You understand the regulatory requirements. So if I talk about motor insurance, I can't remember, MDI or somewhere. So as a it's a as an insurance company, you need to check all the vehicles that you are insuring. You need to check them in the motor database in US market. So that's a regulatory requirement. You have to ensure that the vehicle number is a valid VIN number. So if I take an India example, the moment you are noting down the Aadhaar number of a person, you may need a connection with UIDAI and get a confirmation that yes, this is a valid Aadhaar number which is associated with this particular person, right? So those kind of new integrations may be required from regulatory perspective. Some other integrations may also be required. Yeah. The motor vehicle number, so you are sending for example, you are sending the PAN number of the person, and you are getting the name back, and you match that name with the insured name. So those kind of integrations will be required. So any new LOB setup, you need to understand the data that needs to be captured. You need to understand the processes, and from those once you understand those processes, you'll understand what integrations are required. How the pricing will be done. If there are any differences in the pricing, you understand from the documents perspective. So each and everything needs to be worked out with the client regarding that particular cover or coverage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Bharat, do you have a question?
Shipra, I have a
Yeah,
doubt.
sure.
Yeah. So nowadays the job market is like, I'm looking for BA Python is one more skills they are expecting. So where does the BA use this in the company of the project, like company who hires the BA for the client, or company who's making their own product, and which phase of the project they will use this Python?
You're talking about Python?
Yeah, Python.
Okay. So, see, Bharat, there are two roles in the market. Yeah. One is business analysis, other is business analytics. Yeah. So the difference is between a business analyst and business analytics is business analyst will go to the client and ask what your requirements are, and then do implement those requirements in a system. Yeah. So for example, a client needs a field or data to be captured, so they'll introduce a field in the system. Yeah. It could be during implementation or it could be in the product itself. So when we talk about requirements, requirement elicitation, requirement documents, user stories, use cases, BRDs, FRDs, so that's the business analysis part. Business analytics is where people will analyze the data and then discover the, or plot out the trends from that data. So how much market is covering this particular product, or if I extrapolate it, what trend will be there in future, right? So for example, it's a garment company, so the company may say, okay, right now sarees are in demand, but going forward suits will be lady suits will be in demand. So those kind of extrapolations, those kind of analysis on the data is something that a business analytics person will do. So this analysis of data will need Python, it will need SQL, it will need Power BI, it will need Tableau, so those kind of tools. That's the data analysis, that's not business analysis. Yeah. So there is a very thin line, and people often get confused because if they are giving you something to perform analytics, they'll give you a role or a designation of business analysis only, because they think you are analyzing the business, but you are not analyzing the business, you are analyzing the data of the business. Yeah. So if something is someone is asking for a Python experience, that means they want you to hire you for business analytics role, not for business analysis role.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you brief about Duck Creek and Guidewire? I want to know about how they are used.
They are policy administration systems. Yeah. And claims management system. So they're just a system in the market like other systems.
So, like, are they like freeware? Like, we can download it and learn about them, or like how?
I think one of them gives you a trial for some modules. I'm not very sure. I've not worked on either of those. So maybe you can go to the websites and check it out. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So just one more thing, Bharat. Business analytics and business analysis are two different roles. Yeah. But nowhere, one role is below the other. Both are equally relevant in today's world. It's not like BAs, business analysts are better over business analytics people. So as long as someone is very good in their work, the person will definitely progress in their career. It's not both the roles are equal. Yeah. But you have to be very sure which role you are going into, so understand the job description very thoroughly. So if you are having a business analysis role, you won't want to go into business analytics role just because they gave you a designation of business analysis, right? So understand the job description first and then only decide.
Okay. So as you mentioned that third project, right? Like support, once we have handed over the project to the clients, maybe the company is giving the support, right? So in that projects, what BA will do, Ship?
So the role of the business analyst will be to provide the support, right? So a client has come to you with the particular query. So you need to resolve that query. My query could be related to, how I can use the system to deal with a particular case. Yeah. So I have been noting down, simple things, but now a particular case is there and I have to note it down in the system. How will I do that? Yeah. So they can come back to you for user training kind of issues, like I don't know how to do this in the system, can you help me out? Yeah. Those kind of queries can come to a support BA. Other Queries can be data fix request. Oh, by mistake I entered this data, but this is not correct, and now system is not allowing me to change it. Can you change it from the backend? Can you remove this data, or can you change it from the backend? One thing BA has to be sure of, that they won't remove any particular data. They will only mark the data as inactive somehow, so that it doesn't appear in the system, but the data should always remain in the backend. They won't you are not supposed to delete a particular data which was ever entered into the system. So, but yeah, they can come up with the data fix request. So my data got corrupted, I misentered it, or there was a bug in the system because of which my data is not coming up correctly. Yeah. So my value was supposed to be 1000, but it is showing me 200. Why is it so? So you analyze that requirement. You'll analyze that request, and you come up, you realize, okay, there is a bug in the system that needs to be fixed. So you will do two things. One is bug fix, and second thing is data fix. So you'll correct the corrupted data, plus you'll fix the bug so that it doesn't happen again. So that could be a request. There can be a feature request that may come from the client. Client is saying, I want to use the system to do this, but this system is not allowing me to do this. What to do? And you realize, okay, this feature was never in the system in the first place itself. Yeah. Then in that case, you'll reach out to the product team and say that your product is not having this feature. Can we build it up? And then the team can agree to it, or provide you a workaround, or they'll say, no, this we will deliver it in 6 months time. So those kind of requests can be there. So a support person will deal with client problems, day-to-day problems. We call it as BAU, business as usual. Yeah. So BAU team will deal with daily problems of the users, actual users. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay. So because I felt that there will be a customer support, right? So there will be a separate team called BAU in this type of projects.
Right. So we have to understand. So whenever BAU is set up, there are usually 3 levels support that is provided. The first level is help desk support. Yeah. So for example, there is a request that, okay, can you set up this particular person in this system? Yeah. So giving the permissions, setting up a person, access of a particular person. So a new employee has joined the organization. Can you give access to this person? So those kind of day-to-day requests may come in. So they don't need a BA. They know how to set up a new person in the system, right? So help desk team, these are kind of telecaller kind of people, right? So the help desk team will set up the person for them, and all good and set up. Yeah. We don't need a BA for that. Second level is when a request comes in, and there is something which is very frequent. Yeah. So there are set processes to deal with those problems. So a client always comes to you and say that I made a mistake, can you correct it? And those kind of tickets can be done by development team. Yeah. So there is a person who knows SQL, who knows how to code, and this person will fix the problem for the customer. They don't need a BA for it, because that's a very usual request that comes in. BAs are usually at level 3. So when the request is not a very simple request like setting up a user, or it's not a data fix kind of a request, or which a support team can handle, then the request will go to a BA, and then BA will analyze, and then BA will provide a solution for it. So for example, if a business user comes in and say, how will I enter this particular record in the system? So support team may not know about it. Yeah. So then it will go to BA, and BA will say, okay, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. If a customer comes with a new feature request, I want to take out an extract like this, but I'm not able to do so. And the support team is not very sure what to answer to the customer. Then BA will look into it, and BA will say, okay, this feature is not there in the system yet. So let me, talk to business product owner and product team, and get you an answer. So that's where the business people, business analysts will come into picture. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So they are not telecallers. Even if you are on support team, you won't be doing the telecaller kind of a role. Yeah. If you are very new, very fresher, at a fresher level, then maybe they ask you to do small menial things, which is repetitive things as well. But the more experience you gain, they'll stop expecting you to do those things. Yeah, they'll bring in some junior people for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, once again, support role is the role wherein you'll get maximum learning. So if you are in a support role, never think that I'm better off doing a product role or a implementation role. Support role is the role wherein you'll learn something new every day.
Understood.
Yeah, I have one question. Like, to gain more knowledge about this insurance domain, do we have to learn all coverages, or how do you approach? What is the knowledge that is required?
Are you into PNC or are you into life?
No, PNC.
PNC, na? So go for INS 21 and INS 22 and INS 23 material. So it's a certification. You need not give the certification, but try to find some material. Maybe someone can provide you. I'm not sure. I don't have that. But yeah, try to get the certification material, INS 21, 22, and 23, and go through it, and that should be sufficient. So if you understand, whatever is mentioned there, you will become a very good domain expert. It's a very useful information, and that's all what interviewer will expect you to know about. Okay, and to answer your question, different lines of business, INS 23 material will touch upon different lines of business in different chapters. So is INS 22. So INS 22 is more like personal insurance. INS 23 is commercial insurance, and both the books. If you have to prioritize 21, 23, and then 22. Personal lines of business is very less. I've seen in Indian market, so you can keep it for the later. But yeah, and at least go through 21 and 23 material. So 23 material will comprise of chapters on each of the lines of business. Yeah, so one chapter will talk about marine insurance, other chapter will talk about vehicle insurance. So that will be useful for you. Okay. Yeah, Imran.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I noted that we didn't talked much about BA journey during the project life cycle, but it's okay. We can set up the session next time. Wherein we'll explore each of the phases, and what's the BA roles and responsibilities in each of the phase. So that's fine. Now we still have 10 minutes left. If you have more questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Shipra, I just want to ask, does every business analyst need to know the Power BI?
No, so that's what I said. Power BI is something a business analytics person will use, not a business
Correct.
analyst will use. Analytics, if you're going through JD, right, and if it talks about Python, Tableau, Power BI, SQL, then it's a business analytics role. That's not a business analysis role. If you
Correct.
see the words requirement elicitation, requirement documentation, stakeholder management, yeah, then it's a business analysis role. This business analysis role may comprise of SQL as well, but it won't talk about Power BI, Tableau, and Python.
Okay. Till what extent do we need to know SQL? If
Go to W3 schools. It gives you a basic understanding of SQL commands. Yeah, select star commands and joins, and that should be sufficient.
Thank you. And can you just tell us what real-time challenges you have faced while implementing any project and how you overcome it?
I have
If
faced so many
others doesn't have
challenges. I have faced so many challenges in my 20 years of career. It
just
is
one
very
or two,
difficult.
if others doesn't have any questions or doubts, so you can go ahead and just let us know one or two as a senior business analyst. It will help others also, no? Also.
Yeah, so challenges. So elicitation is the major challenge which a BA faces. So and other one is a stakeholder management. So I on top of my head, these are the
I
two.
have one question.
Mm,
Sorry to disturb.
yeah.
One question here. There's like
Mhm.
there are various elicitation techniques, like brainstorming and interview. Which one to use when? Like, can you talk about that? Like, yeah, you can go.
Um, See, if I talk about requirement elicitation techniques, you won't be using any of those except the interview technique. Yeah. Brainstorming might happen, but if you are a junior BA or if you are a fresher BA, then they might not even take you to a brainstorming session. So even if you go there, you might not be able to contribute to it. Yeah. So interview technique is the most common technique that you will employ. Uh, Surveys, questionnaires, so those I've not seen anyone using those and asking a BA to create a survey, yeah, until and unless they are working in a product setup. And even in product, I worked in product, I have not seen anyone asking a BA to write us create a survey. Maybe sales team, pre-sales team will be doing that. uh, Brainstorming is when no one knows what to do, and they'll just sit together and talk about it. So as I said, brainstorming sessions are not very useful sessions, so they won't have it. um, and you call it JAD, you call it some other sessions, workshops, and any number of techniques will be there, right? Focus groups. But in the end, what you will be doing is you will be interviewing the person, right? So it's just a matter of they call it different techniques, but it's at the end it's more like a question and answer round, right? So you'll ask a question, you'll try to understand what they're doing, and they'll answer you, right? So the interview is the most common technique that you're going to employ day in day out, even if you're doing a chat sessions or focus group sessions. Yeah. So yeah, coming back to the challenges, the most common challenge is the requirement elicitation, because your client will not know what they are looking for, right? They might give you a write up of the requirements, like I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. But if you start imploring them, if you start asking questions, then they will realize, oh no, this is not what they want. They want something else. Yeah. So never go with what was given to you in the first instance. If even if you are getting a business requirement document, do challenge that. Yeah, do dig into that. There is a 5 why technique. Yeah, ask the question why. So a client is saying, okay, I want a field. Ask a question why, what you will do with this field. Yeah. So the client will say, okay, I will note down my notes. What notes you will be noting down, why you need to write the notes. Yeah. So keep on asking questions. Okay, once you have noted down these notes, what are you going to do with it? When are you going to look at it, right? So the more questions you ask, more interview you conduct with the client, better clarity will be there, and in the end client will be like, oh no, I don't even need this field. Yeah, I I need something else. I need a breakup of the fields. I need different fields to capture different things. Yeah. So for example, the client asks you, I want to capture notes. Client won't ask you, I want to capture note. Client will say, okay, can you give me a field where I'll enter my notes? And then you ask a question, okay, what will you, what kind of notes you will note down? The client will say, okay, I'll note down this data. And then you'll be like, okay, what you will do with this data? So the client will be like, I need to send this data to my pricing team. And then you'll ask, okay, is pricing team having a system? And the client will say, yes, the client pricing team is having a system. So you are saying, okay, from the notes area, you want me to send the notes as is to the other system, or you want me to extract a particular information from the notes and then send it across? Client will be like, no, no, I'm going to write n number of notes, but they don't need all these notes. They'll just need this 10% figure that I'm entering in the notes. and then you'll be like, I can't take out 10% information from your notes because I don't know where you will be writing it, right? You might be writing it at the top, you might be writing it at the bottom. Client will be like, yeah, I can't write it, there. So then you'll say, okay, if you have to send this 10%, 20%, 50% amount, why don't I give you a field, wherein you'll note down this information? Then client will like this idea. Yes, you are making sense. Yeah. And then you'll ask, okay, is this always going to be a fixed amount, or is it could be 11, 12, 13 also? Then client will be like, no, it's not it's always fixed. It's either 5% or 10%, not more than that, not less than 10. I won't be entering any other value in there. Then you'll be like, okay, then I won't be giving you a free field and then putting up the validations, right? It needs to be 5% or 10%. I'll give you a drop down field instead, wherein two options will be there, 5% and 10%. Yeah. And then you'll say, okay, where do you want me to place this field? This is pricing data, so let me place here. So you get an agreement like that. So you understand how the conversation will flow. So conversation started from having a notes field, and then it ended up into a percentage field at a particular place in the screen. So that's the conversation you need. That's the interview you need to do to arrive at the actual solutioning. And that's the challenge many BAs face, because what happens is they client asks them, okay, give me a notes field. They implement a notes field, and then they realize client was not looking for a notes field. They were looking for 10% and 5% two values. So you have to be very cautious. You have to dig down so much into each and every requirement, and it's not always easy. Client will be like, why you are asking me so many questions? I don't want to answer it. Sometimes client do that. Yeah. So requirement elicitation, and sometimes client doesn't even know what they want, so you have to go for a brainstorming session and navigating a brainstorming session. So that becomes real challenge sometimes. So sometimes you are talking about one thing and client starts screaming about some other thing. Yeah, you have to bring the clients back to the conversation. Okay, let's come back and talk about this thing. So requirement elicitation sessions can be tricky sometimes. I've been into sessions where people have left the room because they get so much frustrated. Yeah. So or banged the tables. So that's one of the challenges which a BA faces on day-to-day basis, and keeping everyone happy is definitely a challenge. Stakeholder management. As a BA, people deal with so many people, and keeping everyone happy is quite a task. Does that answer, Shrikant? Did you ask this question, right? Who asked this question? Bharat, Shrikant?
Shrikant.
Sorry, my phone got hanged.
Okay.
I really appreciate for sharing those.
Okay. So you got your answer, yeah?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, good. Hi, Jay.
Hey Shipra, happy Women's Day.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So,
I was secretly hoping someone will say that to me.
and I was secretly waiting for such a long time just to say this. So Shipra,
Happy Women's Day, Shipra. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. But yeah,
Sorry.
thanks all.
okay, so there is celebratory event in my society. I just don't want to bother the audience with the background noise, so I'll rather keep mum today. But then thank you everyone for asking the questions and Shipra taking the session here.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay. Thanks. Okay, yeah. Any further questions, anyone?
No, I'm done. Thank you so much.
How can we reach out to you if you have any doubts or something? Can we?
Yes, so you can reach out to me on the BA Club. So we conduct a session every Saturday, 9:30 p.m. And I put up a note, if you want me to touch base upon a particular BA related topic, right? So today's session changed into an open house kind of a session, and that's perfectly fine. But yes, if you want me to take up a session, maybe, we can talk about requirement elicitation that you asked, or what a BA does in support role. So we can take individual sessions on those topics as well, wherein I'll explain much more in detail. I try to just summarize things today because it was an open house, but you can post a request on the BA Club Telegram group. THEBACLUB without a space. It's a public group. You can join that group and you can ask me for a particular topic, and I'll take a session on Saturday, 9:30 p.m. IST. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, no further questions. So we can wrap up for today.
Yeah, sure.
Okay then. Thanks. Thanks for being there. Thanks for asking all
Thank you
those
so much.
questions. And I hope you learned something from me today. And I hope I am able to give you satisfactory answers. So yeah, hoping to see you in the next sessions as well. Thank you. Thanks a lot.